Okay, you know what? Sometimes my recording software actually drives me insane. Because on one screen it says it's recording, and on the other it says it's not. And I don't know why. It's a weird discrepancy. Anyway, hi, hello. I have not existed for a while. I have not really been streaming. Definitely have not been making videos for a while. This is not meant to serve as an update video. This is actually something entirely different, but I just wanted you all to know that, hi, yes, I'm alive, I exist. Please go follow me on Twitch. I'm a lot more active over there. What a shocker, because YouTube is slowly crumbling or whatever. In part, I've been away because I'm just gonna go over this really quickly. Actually, no, not in part, just entirely because I am working again. Thank God. I got a new contract in Nintendo's warehouse, and I'm working, and it's great, and I'm making money again. But what I want to do today, I was chatting with a fellow moderator on the Icons Combat Arena Discord, and a friend of mine, A4, who is a concert violist. I was chatting with him about like music and stuff, and just out of the blue, I remembered this really old song that I wrote when I was 11 years old. It's the first song that I ever made, ever. And it got me, and that conversation kind of sort of kickstarted this like nostalgia trip, and I started going through all my old music, and I'm like, wait a minute, I haven't made music in like a year and a half, and I haven't felt the fire or the drive to make anything in as long. Or longer, you could argue. But this old stuff, this really old stuff, is actually really good, and it kind of irks me that I made good music when I was a kid that just feels better than anything I've made since I swapped programs from that ancient Noteworthy Composer program, that software, to FL Studio and then all that stuff. So I thought it would be fun to go through my favorites of my old music. I'm talking like shitty MIDI instruments. I probably shouldn't say that because YouTube's content filter is going to annihilate me. Really terrible sounding MIDI instruments and like just bad notation and all sorts of stuff. But I thought it would be interesting to go through that. So you can see here I've got this handy dandy full window thingy open. This is where I keep the creative stuff that I've worked on. So like there was a time in my past where I was actually drawing and stuff. Don't think about that too hard. Like my FL Studio files where I keep those things, stories I've written, Homestuck related things which will never come to fruition. But then there's this Noteworthy Composer files folder. And this folder, by the way, this A4OMFG, that's gonna be the clincher to this video. This Noteworthy Composers file this folder is really old. Like I'm talking, this folder was made when I got my first computer that was actually mine in 2008. Right? So some of the files in here, especially in this basically like scrap folder, some of these files were created, look at how long ago they were, 2010, 2011. Some of them were created 2009, 2008. Look at this stuff. Look at how good I was at naming my project files, by the way. Barf, puke, vomit, more vomit, barf, puke, cool tune, Nick's breath, because my older brother is named Nick, and I wanted to poke fun at him, and I just noticed that was on 420. That's kind of funny. Kirby rules. I was a kid. I was little. I was in 8th grade. Actually, no. I started making this stuff just after I graduated from middle school and was going to be a high school student. So there's lots of shenanigans in here. And by the way, these are date modified stamps. So some of these are, well, no, I can actually change it to date created, can't I? Can't I? Date created. Sort by date created. Where's the old ones? Okay, so here's the really old stuff. Organized by when it was made. Look at these tiny file sizes. It's great. But what I wanted to do, I got this Best Works folder here. These things. Excuse me. The green tea with honey that I drank earlier to help soothe my aching throat because I'm currently getting over an illness is trying to destroy me. These files, these songs, are the ones that I, as a kid, deemed my best. And when I say kid, I'm saying kid very loosely because you can see there's various dates on here. I was using this program up until I was a junior in high school, so I used Noteworthy Composer to make my music for 6 years? Yeah, 6 years. And then I got FL Studio, and I was using that for 6 years, and then I've not done anything with music since. But this old stuff, I'm gonna play it for y'all. I'm gonna play it, and then I'm gonna talk about it. Now, a few things to note. One, I don't remember crap about music theory, or rather, I don't remember anything particularly relevant to these, so I can't do any, analysis or anything. Two, I am not going to edit any of these. They are all as they were originally when I decided they were quote-unquote done. Three, some of them are just obviously not done, but they sounded good. And four, some of them sound terrible, but there's a reason that I put them in this folder. Okay? We good? We Gucci? Okay, let's start. You know what I'm actually going to do? I didn't even think about this before. Let's sort by date created and go from oldest to newest, alright? 2012. Why did I make... Oh, I think I remember what this is. I'll get to that. Okay, so let's start with the oldest one. Cave Thingy. Now you can see, inspired by Cave Story, I was huge into Cave Story at this time in my life, so this was... Yeah, this would have been inspired by Cave Story to some degree. Recording software, did you just break on me? No? No? Oh wow, it actually is telling me that it's recording on both screens now. What a miracle. So this, I'm gonna play it. You get to hear terrible MIDI instruments. Let's go. Oh my god, the memories. Okay, so this song, first of all, you can see very obviously that I really, really love reverb, and that never changed. I probably overly abused reverb in every song I've ever made, but, wow, the memories. When I was in high school, this was one of the first songs I wrote when I got to high school, and I was in our school's orchestra. I played the viola for the first 3 years of high school, and when I was a senior, I showed up for one day and decided, you know what, screw this, and I left, never picked up a viola again. Really, there's a story behind that I'm not going to get into. But we all were required to do some kind of... As members of the orchestra, it was technically a class, and there was a grade associated, so we were required to do something extracurricular that was music-related. My choice was to make music and submit it to my teacher and say, hey, look, I've been composing. It's musical stuff outside of class. What do you think? She literally never listened to anything I gave her, which I found out at the end of my junior year. Ugh. Friggin' garbage. Friggin'... That teacher and I did not get along, but this was the first song that I ever gave to her for not extra credit, but for the required elective part of music. What's interesting to me about this is this stuff. All of these chromaticisms and accidentals and whatever you want to call them, I knew them as accidentals as a kid. All of these notes that are not part of the key. What kind of musician who is a string player, who is effectively classically trained, will throw this kind of stuff like these two notes specifically, will throw that kind of thing into a song like this. Now, I'm sure that there's probably a key that these particular accidentals would fit into that I just didn't know about as a child. That's probably why. It's in... Oh, crap. What was two flats? E? No, it's not E flat. Is it E flat? Wait, no. It's B flat. Is it B flat? I can't freaking remember. I think there's actually a way I could check that. I'm going to end up rambling for most of this video, and it's going to be very long, by the way. I apologize in advance, 10.5 minutes in. It's just neat how some strange little 14-year-old, with all these key changes and tempo shifts and all these, like, different tonal shifts and motif shifts, and, like, look at this. Look at this. Who does this as a child who's not trained in composition or classical music theory or anything like that? Who does this? There is a way to move entire measures. I knew it. I'm trying to also refamiliarize myself with this program for funsies. But I've even got, like, big old chords and stuff in here and all sorts of things. I don't have a whole lot to say about this song, really, other than, you know, good old A minor. I am a very big fan of A minor. That's it. I'm just a big fan of A minor. A minor, or if you wanted to get really technical, it's like F major 7? That's effectively what it is, because you see I've got all these Fs in here, and the notes are F-A-C-E. That's part of why I remember this particular chord. I just happen to really like it. Although apparently it has no actual, like, musical function, for the most part, in most music theory. Anyway, I could be going on about this for a million years, so let's move on. Let's see. Next up is New Song. Oh, I remember this. Was this supposed to be... I think this was 2 violas. You'll notice that a lot of what I wrote was very strongly tied to the alto clef, because I did play the viola, so I know the alto clef better than the other 2 classical string instrument clefs, bass and treble. I think this was 2 violas, a cello, and a... No, this isn't an instrument. This is a percussion line. This uses, like, some MIDI percussion stuff, so we'll hear that. Let me just play it here. Excuse me, I forgot that in this program, shenanigans happen with the pedal function. Let me just remove the excessive reverb and try again. That's better. Nice percussion line. It just ends. Key change. Wow. All right. So, if it wasn't blatantly obvious by now, a large part of my musical inspiration as a composer is video game music. So there are some segments in this song that are very, very, very clearly meant to evoke a sort of video game-esque type deal. Especially this segment right here. This one. Like, seriously. But anyway, it's pretty obvious to me, upon listening to this and the previous song, the cave thingy one, that my ADHD was really shining through when I was making music, and now that I think about it, it was pretty obvious in like every song I've ever made for the most part. The fact that I constantly and super quickly go through a section and have it be like 4 or 8 or 16 or 12 bars and then move on to something else and then do it again and move on to something else. It's like my brain could never stay on one idea for very long. Which is part of why it's particularly interesting to me for this song, and this is something that I wasn't very good at doing for the latter half of my composition career. The reuse of that intro motif, kind of like sort of a reimagining of it, like you'd expect for any regular composer who wants to make a song with a recurring motif. That's kind of how a lot of music works, especially classical stuff. You've got a concept that you start with, and then you develop it, and then at the end, once you've resolved all of that harmonic and melodic tension and all that stuff, you revisit it and be like, okay, the story has ended. Here we go. You've got an end. This should be familiar to you. I do that in these older songs, for more or less, in these old noteworthy composer songs, far more than I ever did with the FL Studio stuff. It's just curious to think about. Also, apparently I had a better grasp on percussion than I thought, even though this is extremely simple. This is an extremely simple percussion line, and also is obviously unfinished because I remember running out of steam while working on it. I don't know. This song is definitely trying to evoke some themes of what I perceived to be like Eastern music. I perceived to be like quote-unquote desert music or Arabian music. Granted, younger me was probably very, had some preconceived notions of what that kind of culture's music was without really knowing. So I suppose inherently it's not a good thing per se. But, you know, whatever. The other thing I wanted to mention is this section right here, this top line. This is a 5-bar phrase. Why did I do this? Why did I make this top line a 5-bar phrase? Oh, sorry, not a 5-bar phrase. This is a 5-quarter note. It's a 5-pulse, 5-beat phrase that I sustain doing that for quite a while until I shift into this sort of thing right here, where it transitions into the next section. Why did I do that? I guess I was starting to experiment with like different time signatures and meters and all that sort of stuff at a young age and didn't even realize I was doing that. But there will be one more of those later that a lot more clearly highlights that whole experimentation. You'll have to excuse me, my throat is starting to hurt a lot. I'm gonna drink some more tea. Oh, green tea with honey, what would I do without you? Alright, next we've got whatever this is, Stuffs. Oh, I remember this. For some wacky reason, I remember deciding to make the half note be the pulse of this song, at least as far as how it's notated. I can tell you for a fact before I play it that this is bad. Okay, this one is bad. But, some segments of it have a really cool melody, which is why it ended up in this folder. So let's play it and let's revisit this, shall we? I apologize if you could hear me sniffling through any of that, as I am experiencing the residual effects of some kind of obnoxious convention illness from having been at PAX for one day. Oh, Lord. I'm so sorry you had to hear that. Crap. Well, anyway. Music, song. This song is bad, okay? It doesn't sound right. The supporting tracks, especially this quote-unquote flute track here, just do whatever, and a lot of the decisions that I made with regard to what it's doing seem completely arbitrary, but if there's one thing this song does right, it's the melodic development that happens. Actually, it feels cohesive, especially with the particular chords that I unknowingly chose to use in some of these sections. It works. And it's so weird to think about that. How a lot of musical decisions that I made as a kid when I was composing actually made sense from a music theory perspective and from just, a musicality perspective in general, but I had no idea that they did. I really didn't know. There really isn't a whole lot else to say about this particular song. Oh, right, the percussion track is awful. So I'm just going to move on, and also I'm going to move on because the sooner this is done, the sooner I can rest my throat. And I got a lot more to go. I'm just excited to do this. It's fun. Okay, so let's check out I Like It. I think I remember this. Let's play it. I remember why I saved this. I saved this because, oh my god, my control over the chords, the chord progression in this song is freaking awesome. Like, what in the heck? What are these chords? What is this? What is this? What is this chord right here? What is this? How does this, why does it work? And this little, like, stringy section right here, what in the hell? This. That. Why does that, what is this? Why does it work? Why are there so many weird things in my music in FL Studio, specifically, often adheres to a very specific key. Like, I will start a song, I will devise a melody or a harmony, I will discover what key that's in, and then I will rigidly stick to that key for the whole song. But then you go back to these really old pieces of mine. Before I knew what I know now about how music works, and I was doing this wacky, crazy stuff. Granted, it's all very simplistic, but like, what? What? It's so cool. It's so weird how it actually sounds like it makes sense when it really, it just does not look like it should make sense. I don't know. Like, what is happening down here? What is this? It's been so long since I bothered paying attention to notation, like classical notation, that I don't even know exactly what these intervals would sound like. But good God. There are some things that I did with music as a kid that I will never be able to recreate because, like this chord progression, I don't even freaking know what it is, but it makes sense. What is this right here? What? Actually, hold on. This is alto clef. I should figure this pad down here. So what chord is this? E. Hold on. Oh, I see. So this chord is E flat, A, and C. Is that a... Wait, E flat, C, A. That is a diminished chord. Before I knew what a diminished chord is, I used a diminished chord in a song, and it made sense harmonically. What? I was good at this as a child. I was good at this. Oh my god. Okay, moving on. Moving on, because I can't linger too long. Tribute will happen last because reasons. Well, second to last. Let's check out Finally. Oh no. There will be a very obvious reason why these two staves exist. You will see soon. Let's go. Eerily, I wrote. Eerily. Very good. I don't know why it didn't occur to me for the first few songs, but I could actually just mute my microphone by pushing the little glowy button on the front of it while the song is playing. I don't know why I didn't think of that. I apologize if you heard any more sniffling. Happens. Anyway, first of all, this, I don't know. I don't remember. I guess I just wanted it to sound really grandiose or something, and I'm like, oh god, the notation is clashing between the staves. I should just add some blank ones. You know what would have made more sense? If I put this line at the bottom and added one blank one instead of two. But I wanted to keep the percussion at the bottom because, I don't know, because I did. Which is still a thing that I do in every project file in FL Studio. If ever it has percussion, it's always at the bottom. Like if I add new tracks, and And the mixer window in FL Studio, I always move percussion down. It is always at the bottom. It's just a habit that I have for some reason. I think this song in particular, like, there's nothing exceptionally special about it as far as, like, harmonies or melodies or music or all that sort of stuff. But what really sticks out to me is okay, first of all, this like call and response pattern right here is something that I've tried to emulate for a long time since making music with Noteworthy Composer here with this old notation software, and I'm just bad at it now, but apparently I pulled it off. Like, granted, it's pretty much the same exact lines with a little bit of shenanigans there, but it actually works here. And then I expanded on it quite well by adding this nice little percussive line and then some little bit of background harmonies with the bit bops and stuff, because that's obviously what it's called. And then I was just like, hey, let's just throw in a friggin' chromaticism here, because I can, as a chromatic approach to friggin' E or whatever. I don't know, I can't read music. It's like, I think in particular, what strikes me about this piece is my use of odd rhythms, especially this like main motif of eighth note, dotted half, eighth note, which I even got throwbacks to in this last section. Like, I called back to it from the very beginning. The beginning of the song starts with this rhythm predominantly in use as a sort of background, and then it becomes kind of a bit more of the main melody with a little bit of embellishment here and there. But it's this rhythm right here, eighth note, dotted half, eighth note, and then I managed to tie it all back in together at the end, reusing that motif, that rhythmic motif. Wow. Young me was on another level that older me would never have even guessed young me would have been on. Oh, and by the way, ending with a Picardy third, thank you. I think. Is this a Picardy third? It's a major chord, and this song is probably in a minor key. Probably, because everything I wrote was in a minor key. I don't know. It's neat. Now, this song should also very clearly highlight that I have a problem with dynamic ranges. I don't understand how dynamics work. I don't know what triple forte means. That doesn't sound like triple forte to me. Part of the problem with that is the fact that this program's dynamic range, as far as these are concerned, this volume control is concerned, is like really bad. So when I made something quote-unquote triple forte in these scores, that's just because I wanted it to be louder than everything else, not because I wanted it to be louder relative to everything else, not like crazy booming mega loud. Like, I don't want Tchaikovsky's cannons in here, you know? Tchaikovsky? How is pronunciation? Whatever. Okay, so my control over dynamics is bad, and has always been bad, and will always be bad. Excuse me while I accidentally spit onto my microphone. I'm talking a little too energetically. That's okay. This is fun. Next up, Inspired by Cave Story. Oh, I think I do remember this one, actually. Another bad percussion line. This is, well, let's just listen to it. Okay, speaking of bad MIDI instruments, oh my god, bad MIDI instruments. This piece is bad, Like, this is bad and I don't like it. But what's interesting to me is how I managed to make the two main lines trade off on that particular motif that I've decided to work with. This whole collection of eighth notes to dotted quarter to eighth, and this bit, I managed to make both parts use that in very similar yet just different enough ways over the course of the song that it feels like that classic call and response type format, but it's like really extended. Now, of course, this song is definitely bad. I'm just gonna say it's bad, cause it's bad, and also it's bad. But that was something that I found interesting, along with all of my usual shenanigans with weird like accidentals and other stuff. My throat is crying. That is okay. Also, ignore this percussion line. It's garbage. I'm just gonna move on from this one. Let's see. Next we got Woot. Do I remember what? I think I do remember what this is. This is gonna be hard. Oh yeah. I wrote this to be a part that was sight read. This song is part of why this is a very large part of why I quit the orchestra in high school as a senior, because I had been giving the orchestra instructor my music that I had written for the previous 3 years up to the end of junior year for like the whole quote-unquote extra musician electives part of my grade. It was like 5 or 10%, or as like 5% of my grade, I think, was this stuff. And at the end of my junior year, I asked, because the school year was almost over and all of the seniors were gone, because the seniors at my school, when they graduate, they don't have to show up for the last week of classes. I asked the teacher if I could make a song that the rest of the orchestra, barring or like sans the seniors, could just sight read for fun, just cause, right? And she was like, okay, yeah, sure, cool, we can do that. So I made this piece, which is why you've got notation like pizzicato and this divisi or whatever that's called, and arco and all that stuff. You got the first violin, second violin, viola, cello, bass. You had those sorts of things. That's what this was written for. We didn't play it. She promised we would, and then we didn't, and then the school year ended. I was very bitter that summer, shall we say. I was very bitter about this whole occurrence, which is why there's a large part of why I quit the orchestra the next year. Because clearly she wasn't invested in me as a composer, so why care? But anyway, so that's just framing for what this song is. Now I'm not using, I think, yeah, this song doesn't use the MIDI string instruments because they are absolute garbage. It just uses a generic pad sound. So let's take a listen, shall we? I think that this is one of the more sophisticated songs that I wrote in my previous years. Okay, first off, I just like a second and a half ago, looked at the timer and realized that this has been going for 45 minutes. So you know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna split this up into 2 videos. I'm gonna finish the rest of these in another video that you'll see soon. So anyway, with regard to this song, first of all, I hope it's obvious that I wrote this for a string orchestra. Second of all, I am convinced now, years later, that this would have been way too difficult for my terrible little high school orchestra to play. And that is almost entirely because of the section that is in 7/8. Because what kind of a high school orchestra player, member, who is not thinking of taking on music as part of their professional career in the future, can play something in 7? Who? What? Huh? What was I thinking? Like, yeah, sure, I grew up on Yanni, and Yanni was known for making music in odd time signatures like 5 and 7. I know that. Which aren't even that odd, frankly, but they were odd to me as a kid who played a viola and was bad at it. But why did I think that my classmates could play this? This is too much. This is too much. Not only is this too much, but this section, oh my god, what was I thinking here? What, at the speed it was going? No, that's too fast. And look at the cello and bass line. Oh my god, excuse me, my tea is trying to kill me. The cello and bass lines, like this rhythm, what is this rhythm? I know what this rhythm is. This rhythm makes sense to me as a composer and as somebody who experiments with odd time signatures fairly often. But this would make no sense to a high school cello player. Or a high school bass player. Especially because that rhythm directly clashes with this one. Which is like the melodic line in this section. Oh my god. What was I doing? I know what I was doing. I was making a cool song. I think this is a cool song. I think that aside from a couple sections that are obviously very, very weak, this is actually one of them that we're looking at right here. Aside from that, I think that this song and the way that I sort of like shift and mold that main motif over and over again. I know I've used the word motif a lot recently. I'm aware of that, thank you. I think the way that I shifted and molded that motif over the course of the song for every section, but still made it sound cohesive, is really cool. It's like a sort of like a study on taking one melody that can be used as a round, or rondo, or whatever the term is, and then just very subtly tweaking every iteration of the song over the course of the round, of the melody over the course of the round. I think that's kind of sort of what I did here, but on a larger scale, and also a scale that's meant for a whole orchestra to play. You know, take that as you will. But I think it's cool. I think it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool. Excuse me while I check real quick. The date created was April of 2010. Oh, wait. This wasn't my junior year. This was my sophomore year. I remember now. Wait, did I quit as a senior or a junior? 1, 2, 3. No. I quit as a junior. Yeah, this was the end of my sophomore year. And I quit the orchestra as a junior. Same story as what I said before, but junior instead of senior for me when I quit. Anyway, okay. I was just trying to corroborate and like make sure that I could confirm my own story. Okay, neat. So I'm going to end this video because it's been almost 50 minutes and my throat hurts, and I don't think that people who are watching this are going to want to sit down for 50 minutes and listen to me yammer on about my ancient music. But if you got this far, hey, thanks, I appreciate it. You're swell. You're swell and I love you. Finger guns and a wink. I guess I'll see y'all in part 2. Yeah, cool? We good? We good. Okay, I'm gonna go rest my throat now. Thanks, bye. Have a good day and stuff.